like their communication kind of got sped up, but in the reading, like there was norms and like rituals and like beliefs and customs. Did anybody see like a norm, like kind of within their little group there?
Does anybody call on somebody? Does anybody recognize what like the norm was?
Like nobody wanted to actually make the decision or be the first one to say who's aspired.
Yeah, so like Reece said, a norm is like an unwritten rule, and if you guys notice right now, everybody's silent and all their attention's up here on Reece and I. So we incorporated that a norm throughout XB in general is every time that somebody comes up here to talk, everybody's always has their attention up in the front of the room, nobody's talking. It's just kind of a norm to know to stay quiet and give your attention to them because they're trying to state either a BSLO or just a goal for the class. It's going to benefit the whole organization.
And then like a ritual that we have, like kind of like with the pledge, like it's stated that we need to do it, but we make it like fun, like as like a joke, like Rick trying to just, hey, we're gonna get our shit done, we always end with damn it. So I mean, like a ritual, like it can be written down, but like you just do something different with it, like how we just make it fun and kind of just loosens everybody up like the class.
And then as far as customs and beliefs go, Kevin specifically stated a rule about it, but it's kind of been a custom, if everybody noticed, that you dress relatively nice for your presentations. I mean, I usually come to class in sweatpants every day, so it was kind of like a belief or custom that I think everyone could agree that during presentations, people have probably dressed up nicer than they normally would for class. So Reece and I saw it kind of as like a belief that we were each going to wear a collared shirt and jeans just to look presentable for a presentation, because it's kind of been like a custom throughout the presentation so far.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to where you guys have a chance to get points. We're going to go through some scenarios on like our tally sheet here, and then we're going to see like if you guys know any. If you do get it right, you'll get 5 tallies for it. So
We're going to
do some dialogue.
give people like 2 tries, since there'll be 5 tallies. That's potentially halfway to 3 extra points in the class. So you'll get 2 attempts at these. They shouldn't be too hard.
Okay. So, me and Chink was kind of ripping our ass today about those memos, but I don't think he was really pointing you out, just like singling you out in front of everybody.
You sure about that? Okay. So, with what Reece said, what from the chart do you think that he was trying to do toward me?
Maybe a little bit like encouraging in case if you were like, like kind of like not upset but like angry at like what he kind of said.
Really close. It could be encouraging also.
It's in the right.
It's in the right thing.
Yeah.
We good.
Is it the observing, commenting?
No. With observing commenting, that's kind of like you see somebody doing something, like when someone says or like doing an action. So, like what that one was kind of just harmonizing. It's just you're just trying to make sure like the person doesn't feel bad about themselves, like what you were saying. It is kind of like encouraging, but
We get some tests.
All 5 or?
More or less.
yeah.
So I try really hard on my memos every week. Put a lot of time and effort into them. Got not yet needs on pretty much everyone besides a barely needs, so I really don't even count that. So then Chinkov just doesn't like the way I write memos. What was it?
Come on, man, come on, stop making up.
Like a lot of the time,
Flirting or calling attention to self.
No.
Or, I mean, a word of responsibility.
Yeah. The hint is past role behavior. It's up in there.
Think of like how like he kind of stated some things and like came to a conclusion.
is it reality testing?
Summarizing?
Yeah, it was summarizing.
Because when you summarize, I could see definitely why you said flirting or having attention to yourself, because it's like that's what I was doing also. But I kind of like just made a couple of general statements, which made really no further examples necessary because I was pretty straight to the point, like saying that he didn't like them. So it kind of made it seem like I was just summarizing a main point.
What did you do this weekend, Liz? Well, I hope to see you up later.
Yesterday.
I mean, you look a little tired, but it looks.
Yeah, I'm trying to loosen up, you know.
flirting, calling attention to
Yeah.
itself. And it worked really good.
So, David, I've noticed, like, when Brandon, like, kind of looks at you, like, call you out in a group, that you kind of just blow him off and kind of, like, look the other way and don't really say much about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, Brandon's not here today, so I'm probably just gonna keep doing that.
Alright, what, 2 examples, was that, there was 2 in there?
Yeah, it's just like looking.
I would say kind of avoiding or denying responsibility.
Yeah, that's what he was doing when he was saying, you know, I'm just not gonna just do that, he's gonna kind of, like you said, avoid or it's pretty self-explanatory. And then what was the other, what I was saying?
Were you blaming?
No.
Observing or commenting?
Yeah, see, like I said before, I kind of just picked out like something, like when Brandon like is saying something to him, he kind of does an action, so that's what it came down to.
Okay, Reece, so once we observe throughout the classroom, if I post the feedback on the drive in the Word documents, you should do the Excel sheets, post them in there.
Clarifying?
Oh, so close.
I mean, it's a good guess, like I say, it's, they do get kind of mixed together or something.
It is in that same section.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing for each other?
Providing service.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because when you provide a service, like the book pointed out, like you think out loud and or you talk out loud and I'll get it down on paper. Or you make this announcement and then like I'll say it to the class. It's just kind of scratch my back, I scratch yours type deal.
On this sheet, is there anything, is like, to us, in like the memos that we saw, like, we feel like you guys did have a good understanding of them. Are there any on here that do seem kind of like confusing to you guys that you would want kind of clarified?
What about gatekeeping?
Okay, that's a good question. Gatekeeping is when, like, say you're like trying to give an example or like give your own opinion and someone kind of like butts in. Like, then I would come and be like, hey, Alyssa, like, or like Miranda like butts in, you like, hey, Miranda, can we let Alyssa finish her opinion on the subject? What gatekeeping is.
It's kind of like interrupting or blocking, but you're kind of just like, hey, like let him finish his point that he's going to say. Just kind of giving that person the opportunity to talk.
So to summarize our presentation, we clarified the characteristics of group role behaviors and how to kind of apply them with the activity. And then we also gave examples, like with the terms and definitions and how they apply to our class. And then, yeah, our SMART goal is by the end of our presentation for you guys to have a better understanding of all these terms and then not only apply them to our class, but to real life.
Does anybody have any questions?
How much of what you do is verbal versus visual?
Okay, yeah, like when we do come around and like watch you guys, like we do listen like to what you're saying, like because a lot of this is verbal but we do look at just like your body language, like how with Amy, she was kind of sitting there like keeping her head down. Like if you guys see that, you might want to like try and encourage somebody to start speaking up and give their own opinion.
And I wrote in some of my sheets for the feedback, like pretty much even when people were getting off task, whenever everybody was on the same page, everybody throughout the groups had great eye contact with one another and kind of nodding their heads. And to me, that kind of shows that you're paying attention, your focus is there, and you're really following what the person's trying to say. Like you're really trying to understand what they're saying also.
You watch a lot of groups like outside of class now that you're like in the observing department and doing this.
I mean, people watching is pretty fun in general, so kind of. But I mean, just when Reece and I were at the library yesterday, like he was like applying concepts from something without even noticing it. I was like, okay, Reece, you get it.
So I think with this, like how you asked that question, I mean, we do people watch, but now it's kind of like we actually are applying the material that we do learn in this class, and it does make it, I feel, better for us to, like when we do get in a new group, to kind of push forward.